focusing on classical voice and has received multiple awards in national and international music competitions, even performing at Carnegie Hall.
Angela also has extensive experience teaching children with autism through music therapy. Through this experience, she has gained a deeper understanding and knowledge on the significance of this type of therapy, and she has created a website dedicated to making music therapy more accessible. We are thrilled to hear her insights on how music can help individuals, especially those with autism, express emotions and develop communication skills.
Thank you, Anna. Now let's welcome Angela to share her journey and expertise in music therapy. As she presents, feel free to leave your questions in the chat. Welcome, Angela.
Okay, thank you, Anna and Zan, and welcome everyone. My name is Angela, and today I'm excited to share with you some of my insights into music therapy and my website Melody Mind. So, I've seen firsthand the power of music therapy, and this project is really my way of giving back to the community. And so here is a link to our website, and feel free to check it out. Today, the presentation will be on the power of music and a student's perspective and journey into making music therapy more accessible. So, just as a brief overview, in this presentation, I'll be taking you through what music therapy is, how it works, and why we should use it. Secondly, I will share some of my personal experiences teaching a girl on the autism spectrum to sing. Then I'll discuss the process of building my website, and lastly, how AI and technology can aid the music therapy industry. So, why music therapy? Van Gogh once claimed, "What the germinating force is in the grain, Beethoven's music is my work." To me, this quote not only illustrates the profound impact music had on Van Gogh, but really proves that music is not just for musicians who practice like for 24/7, but a part of everyone's life. Okay, I can imagine someone saying, "Well, I don't even listen to music, so why would it even matter to me?" I would like everyone to just take a few seconds to imagine like a YouTube ad without music. I think it would be even more unbearable than it already is, right? So I think that proves the point that music is so universal and prevalent and can just speak to anyone. This is why music therapy is so effective and holds many opportunities for us to explore. And what is music therapy exactly? I guess the more technical definition of music therapy is that it's a clinical and evidence-based practice that uses music to address various emotional, social, and cognitive needs. Usually, music therapists will set goals with their clients so they can better customize their sessions to meet the client's needs.
啊，
And
你
this
好，
usually
不用
includes
带的，要不要？
motor skills, addressing developmental issues, reducing anxiety, or even overcoming PTSD. So as you can see, music therapy covers a wide range of functions and is really applicable and effective for everyone. So for the music therapist, based on different situations or stages their clients are in, they will be employing different approaches in their sessions with the clients. The four main types of music therapy methods are compositional, improvisational, receptive, and recreative. And first, we have compositional. This is an approach where clients will create their own music, where they often write lyrics or melodies that express their own feelings or their thoughts. For example, an individual may find difficulties verbalizing their thoughts, but through music, they will be able to express themselves and their feelings. This process is really a positive cycle that reinforces their social and cognitive skills and allows individuals with special needs to better communicate with others and perform their daily life as normal. And the second method is the one I really like to talk about because I think it's a really meaningful and fun method that music therapists can incorporate in their sessions, and it is an improvisational method. That's really different from traditional music therapy, I guess, because in this case, music therapists and clients just come together and they'll make music together spontaneously. And the composition doesn't have to be anything complex or like really structured. It is just something that happened at that one moment. And some common examples, I think, is where therapists and clients will come together just playing the drum together or humming some melodies or playing the guitar. This encourages social interactions by allowing the therapist to mirror the client's sound or rhythms, therefore creating a dialogue that doesn't rely on spoken words. This form of call and response between the therapist and client can really enhance the client's responsiveness to other people, which is often challenging for people with developmental disorders. For example, someone with like maybe someone on the autism spectrum will usually have issues with auditory processing, where their brain can't interpret what they're hearing and therefore cannot make a correct judgment on how to respond to that. And this is when improvisational music therapy can be really helpful for that individual. And here's our third type of music therapy, which is receptive. I would say this is a more common way of therapy, and I feel like it's also more commonly seen in daily lives. I don't know if you have this experience before, but for me, like the night before an exam, I'll try to listen to some music to calm myself down, or I can imagine someone going to work or like going back from work will like pull up their favorite playlist and just play it on the train or like on the car. So receptive music therapy is a really common and useful way for everyone to enjoy music and enjoy its benefits. Usually, listening to music can help individuals to improve focus, attention, and emotional regulation. And I think one common example is calming music, which can help reduce anxiety and sensory overload in some cases. Music can also help individuals to connect with and understand emotions better, as certain melodies or harmonies can evoke certain feelings. And this is also when the music therapist will intervene and they will help the clients to identify this type of emotion and teach them how to understand and process it. And this is how receptive music therapy can often be used in those sessions. However, just a quick note on this is that everyone can have very different music taste. So even if two persons have really similar backgrounds or they're just similar and they're in a similar situation, they will still respond differently to the same piece of music. And that's why for music therapy, it's important for everything to be highly personalized and kind of just like each therapy plan had to be made specifically for this one individual. And I thought it's important to point that out. Lastly, we have the recreative method. And this is when clients will be singing or playing a familiar song and tunes. This approach can help to improve memory, cognitive function, and even speech development. This is because in the process, the in the act of singing or replaying the song, this action taps into the brain's ability to recall and reproduce music. So for clients with conditions like dementia or brain injuries, recreative therapy is especially helpful in strengthening like the neural pathways in their brain, thus having a therapeutic effect. It can also boost confidence and promote social interactions, as it gives clients a structured but enjoyable task to complete. And by structured, we're referring to the music structure. And this is also an important concept because one reason music is so effective for therapy is that you usually have a structure that allows the brain to follow, which can be really helpful for individuals who have difficulties like focusing or processing information. And music therapy, as you've seen, is for anyone from all ages. It could be a child from like an older senior citizen So it really has a wide audience. Lastly, I also want to spread some information about the license, like the certification and license required to practice music therapy. So usually, professional trained therapists must pass the national certification exam administered by the Certification Board of Music Therapists. And that's when they will receive the certification title called NTBC. However, after receiving this license, I think different states also have different laws requiring additional lessons for practice, and that just varies by state. So it's important for everyone to check out if the therapists have a license before you go to see them, or for people who might want to go into this field, to be aware of the laws in this case, so they actually practice music therapy in a legit manner. And in this section, I want to just delve into some benefits of music therapy and briefly talk about some researchers that actually support this. And the most important thing for music therapy is it helps emotional regulation. In this case, one common benefit is that music therapy can reduce social anxiety because music therapy session usually creates a safe environment where both the clients and music therapy can engage and communicate without actual need of speaking or using words. And this can be extremely comforting for individuals who might not be able to express themselves as clearly and who may feel stressed to talk to others. And in this case, there's also research supporting this finding. So in the research I have presented here, the researchers put children who are diagnosed with autism and put them into an experiment group and a control group. In the experiment groups, I think the children received 50-minute group sessions over the period of only 5 weeks, in which the sessions are designed to target improving social skills. And at the end of it, all the children from both experimental group and control group were assessed by the social responsive scale, the autism treatment evaluation checklist, and a video analysis done by actual professionals. And eventually, they found out that the children who were actually receiving music therapy improved much more on the social scale. So I think this research really highlights the benefits of music and also gives a proof to this claim. Another benefit is music can help individuals to express emotions. And as mentioned before, a lot of people may have trouble with verbal communication, and that's when music can be really helpful for them to alleviate their feelings. And lastly, the benefits is self-regulation. And similarly, the structure of the music will guide the individuals to navigate through music, and it also teaches them how to behave or follow a structure. And this will help them to learn to follow rhythm and musical patterns and help them follow similar structures in life. The next benefits is the physical sides of music therapy. The most prominent feature is that music therapy is commonly known for improving motor coordination. So participating in music activities such as playing the instruments or even singing can help one to enhance their fine motor skills or learn how to control their body. For example, when I was teaching a girl to sing, I really focused on helping her to relax her mouth muscle, which is essential for singing, but also important for her to perform daily communications with others. And another benefit is that music can actually alleviate physical pain and tension. I like to talk about this because, in fact, when music therapy first emerged, It was during World War I and World War II, and it was actually originally used to reduce physical pain. So during the two world wars, musicians would usually visit the Veterans Hospital to play for soldiers that are suffering from physical pain and trauma. And surprisingly, after those visits, doctors and nurses began to notice a positive change in the soldiers' pain levels and overall recovery even. And after people recognizes that there are actual therapeutic effects of music, hospitals began to employ musicians to aid in the healing process. And over the time, this practice kind of evolved into the field of music therapy that we have right now. So I think it's really interesting to talk about this example and show that music can actually have a great impact on our physical well-being. And lastly, similar to the motor coordination, playing the music or even dancing to a music can help patients to improve their body postures and coordination. And there are also many research supporting this. I have listed one here if anyone is interested to look it up. And here's the last main benefits I will discuss about music therapy, and it is on the neurological side. So music can actually enhance our cognitive function by stimulating regions of the brain related to memory, attention, and problem solving. And also can improve our sensory processing by helping individuals with developmental disorders. And all of these neurological benefits relies on one key concept of neuroplasticity. And this is the concept that our brains will actually adapt to environmental factors, and then it will adapt to it and then make changes. So by listening to music or performing related activities, our brain's neurons will actually build new pathways. And if we listen to music or do music therapy continuously, the connection between the neurons will become increasingly stronger. Therefore, eventually, music will have an impact on the structure of our brain. So music will actually change how our brain reacts or process information. And that's why neuroplasticity is such an important concept. And it just demonstrates how music therapy can affect our brains and motor skills and bring all those benefits. Here, I want to talk about how music therapy is different from other methods. As many people might know, there are other types of therapy that are common, such as speech therapy and applied behavioral analysis. I think all three of them do help individuals to improve motor skills like social interactions or other benefits. However, to me, music therapy is special because it is more creative and it is actually a nonverbal activity, while speech therapy and applied behavioral analysis both either relied on language-based exercises or some more formal approach that use rewards and reinforcements for behavioral change. And in addition, as mentioned earlier, music therapy is really individualized. And for an individual, like their music preferences might even change based on the time of the day or even based on their current mood. So music therapists really have to adjust their approach based on, well, the different clients and the exact moment that the client is receiving the music therapy. So that's why I think music therapy is so different and it works really well in conjunction with other therapy like speech therapy or applied behavioral analysis. And after knowing all of that, I'd like to share a little bit about my own experience teaching the girl Ellie, who had autism, to sing. So when I first met Ellie, I remember she was really shy and didn't say much. So talking wasn't really easy for her. And she also had a lot of challenges staying focused. So at my first lesson, I didn't go directly into any of the technical stuff, but instead I was just humming like simple tunes to see if that would help her to relax. And as I was doing this, I kind of see that she was paying attention to the rhythm, so I also encouraged her to clap along. I think at our first lesson, it's important that I don't push her too hard, so I was mainly encouraging her and trying to make her feel comfortable. And also at our first meeting, I really wanted to establish a good relationship between us, and I hope that she'll be able to trust me, which can really help us in the long term. And later on, as we're more familiar with each other, I began to teach more songs to her and kind of encouraging her more to take initiative to like communicate or learn the songs. However, I also realized that in our lessons, she usually have a difficulty concentrating. And I think this is not, I'm not even like blaming this on her, but I think it's just that her brain is stopping her from focusing on one task for a long time. So that's when I wanted to adjust my approach. And there are two methods that I used to help her. Firstly, I noticed that since Ali had a hard time sitting still during our lessons, I kind of just decided to lean into it. I remember we were doing a song Wellerman. I think it was famous like 2 years ago. And while we were doing the song Wellerman, I asked her to just knock on the guitar and tap into the rhythm. And surprisingly, it kept her more focused, and the movements help her to stay in tune with the rhythm as well. Additionally, it made the whole process more fun for her and gave her a way to express herself physically, not just through her voice. So I think this is the first approach that really worked for her. And to just summarize it, I think I was incorporating some physical movement into music as well. And the second approach I took with Ali was personalizing the music for her. And I'm repeating this point a lot of times, but I think it's really important to know that music is really personal. So after spending our like several weeks together with her and having a few lessons, I discovered that she really loves songs from musicals or songs with the strong beats and relatively easier melodies. For instance, I know that she really loves Think of Me from Phantom of the Opera and My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music. So knowing these, I began to include the songs in all of our sessions. So I might introduce her to a new song in the beginning of our session together, but then at the end, I'll always ask her if she would like to sing like My Favorite Things or sing Think of Me. And I think this approach really keeps her excited and looking forward to our time together. After our lessons, I really see progress, especially in her ability to communicate and interact with others, and her ability in being focused. So I actually just saw her last week, and I think it was great that she took the initiative to say hi to me, and she will show me her drawings and show me some of the videos of her like singing at her own house. So I think this experience really showed me the transformation music can do to individuals. So here are just some reflections and takeaways that I gained from my experience teaching Ali. Well, the first most important point is that music taste is really individualized, and a music therapy session is most effective when the clients can connect personally with the songs. And secondly, I still do think music therapy is a long-term process, so it's really important to be patient and really trust that music therapy can bring benefit to everyone. because I understand that a lot of people will be worried that, oh, what if music therapy is not helping me or helping my child? But I think it is a long-term process, and eventually you'll be able to see the outcome of this. And thirdly, I think my experience taught me that music really help individuals to communicate emotions even when words fail. So witnessing this in Ellie really made me realize the unique role that music therapy can play in enhancing communications and individual expressions. And the last point I actually took from a professor I talked to, and she mentions that music therapy is not necessarily about the techniques or music, but also establishing a relationship with the person. And I think that really shift my perspective on music therapy. And after I taught Ellie and seeing the transformation, I also actually had many conversations with her parents. And I think in multiple instances, her parents mentioned to me that there is a lack of resources in the music therapy field. And I also looked at some online forums and discussions, and I realized that many parents whose children were on the spectrum cannot afford related resources. And those parents had to learn about music therapy, autism, and everything for themselves. I think this really demonstrates a lack of awareness and resources, which prompted me to create this website, Melody Mind. So not only can those in need use the website to learn more about music therapy, but I think this project will also raise the visibility of music therapy and the industry in general. As a brief overview, the website Melody Mind, my website has four main functions, which are the research, the playlists, the blogs, and the community forum. And in this section, I will discuss those in depth later, and I'll also discuss the process of creating this website, from brainstorming to actually implementing this. So yeah, here's my brainstorming and initial ideas. Well, I started off with a Google Doc where I just listed ideas of sections that I want to include in the website. And my initial idea was that I will have a research-based playlist, meaning I will create playlists for individuals with different needs, but then also those playlists are backed by existing research. For instance, I will sort the music by genre, and then I'll provide the research that says, oh, classical music is especially helpful in helping individuals to focus. So that's my initial idea of the website. I also thought of including a rating system where the users can listen to the songs and see if they like it or not. And based on this, I can also gather data and to see which music are generally more effective, and thus having a better music recommendation system. Another function I had during the brainstorming stage is practice. I took inspiration from this. I took inspiration from like my lessons with Ali because in our lessons, I will usually sing a snippet of a song and Ali will repeat that back to me. So I kind of took this idea and thought I could incorporate this on my website, where it's parts of a song and allow users to record their voice, and the audio will be transferred into the algorithm, and the computer algorithm would then give a feedback on the accuracy of the singing. And the last idea I had during the brainstorm stage was a resource page, because I know music therapy resource is scarce, and I don't want people to, I guess, spend a long time just searching for resources. And that's why I wanted to have a page that combines all those resources for individuals to use. So I thought of including music therapists in different states and regions, and related books, movies, and research. So those were my brainstorming initially. And after having those ideas in a Google Doc, I began to put them or like format them in a way that can be presented as a website. I know it sounds weird, but um, I think this process is called wireframing. So I use the website Figma. It's it's like a really industry standard tool for wireframing and getting your ideas just on the page. So here you can see this is an earlier draft I have on my website where I had the logo on the top left and then different tabs for navigation on the right. And then I had the home page, the resources page, music therapist page, and I also had like the music page on my home page. So those were some initial steps I took on Figma. And I really encourage people who are interested to check this out because it's easy to use and I think it's really helpful to organize your ideas into visual images. And after wireframing, I begin the implementation stage. So for implementation, I use Webflow, which is a website that's also really commonly used. And I think building this website is really a learning experience, and I would encourage everyone to give it a try, even if you don't have like prior coding knowledge, because Webflow is really a great platform as it doesn't require much coding for basic functions like formatting, adding like links or buttons, or adding images. So I think it's really user-friendly and everyone can use it to create their own projects. And as you can see here, in the implementation stage, I also changed some of my initial ideas. So as you can see on this page, initially, my homepage was just gonna be playlist and some songs. But when I was actually implementing it, I revised the homepage and added a brief introduction explaining some details on music therapy. And on the right side is a basic structure of my website where I have the main page, the playlist, the music therapy, relating research, and other functions that are still kind of on the development. I know I mentioned that using Webflow is a really like relatively easy process, but I also want to point out that implementation can be really time consuming. So you should really plan ahead before you delve into this project. Personally for me, I feel like I spent about over 40 hours a week for 8 weeks to work on this website. Well, that also includes time for researching and finding resources online. But I want to show that it is a really time-consuming process, and you should definitely plan ahead and have a schedule if you want to make your own website. And in this part, I'll also discuss some challenges I personally faced while working on this. So one of the biggest challenge I faced was the assumption that I could just transfer all my materials from Figma to Webflow. Like I can just Control C, Control V them. But it actually wasn't that simple because while Figma and Webflow works really well together, like you can just transfer your information from Figma to Webflow. There is still a big difference in formatting between the two sites. For instance, I really had to go in and manually adjust margins and ensure that my website formats correctly for all devices of different sizes. I think that was probably the most time-consuming part of the implementation, and I want to just point that out for anyone who are interested in using Figma or Webflow. And the second challenge I encountered was kind of unexpected, and it was actually choosing a style for my website. I mean, in the start, I decided that my website would be informative and educational and user-friendly. However, it's really hard to choose a design that best showcases this. And I know that people usually say that you should be clear of how the style of your website or the purpose of your website from the very beginning. However, for me, even though I had those goals in mind in the beginning, I made a lot of changes and different versions along the way of implementation. So for example, I tried different color themes, and right now I have the pink theme as you see here. And just in general, I think it's important to be able to accommodate and adapt in the process of implementation. I will just give another example. I don't know if you remember, but earlier I said I wanted to include a rating system for the music I had on my website. Yes, I did have a function originally where I added music directly onto my website, and I did find an algorithm that allows users to just rate the music and where I can gather the data and give a better recommendation system. However, along the way, I realized that there is a copyright issue with just putting the songs directly on my website, and I had to work around it by putting the songs into a Spotify playlist and then embedding the Spotify playlist onto my website. However, if I were to use this feature, I wouldn't be able to do the rating system, or at least I haven't figured it out yet. So right now, this feature is still under construction, and I will continue to explore this in the future and hopefully fix this issue. But I think this example just really demonstrates how there are a lot of hidden obstacles on the way, and it's important to be able to adapt to them and try your best to work around them. So those were some of the main challenges I faced. So at the same time, I want to give some suggestions to people who might be interested. I know that the original purpose of my website is really to promote music therapy and advertise it to a wider audience. So to make my website more visible and to get more people to know this website, I use a feature called SEO, which is search engine optimization. And this is a way for Google or search engines to put your website kind of on the top when people search for related topics. And I did this by searching for keywords that were trending on Google and then including those on my website, like the information page or the about page. And as you can see, I also have a section of blog where I'll constantly add blogs or like research papers into this. And this will also help Google to promote your website to more users. So if you want to advertise your website, I think SEO is a great choice. And another function I added is the redirect buttons. The redirect buttons are really ways to help the users to navigate through a website and give them a better experience. So they will actually use your website, right? As the creator of the website, I originally felt that, oh yeah, I know where everything is. I can just find the music in the music section, and I know where to find all my researches and the community forum and everything. However, as I show my website to my parents and my friends to review, I think some of the feedback I got was that they are not really clear where to go in the website and where to find all those resources. And that's why, that's when I realized I should have more direction for the users to navigate the website. And I use redirect buttons. So for example, in my research page, I have two redirect buttons that direct to different music playlists. And on the homepage, I also have buttons that direct to the forum and the blogs page. So I think redirect buttons is a really useful function, and I think all websites should really try to use this as it improves the user experience. The third suggestion I will have is while you're building your website, you should test it on different devices. And what I mean by that, this is because we all have different devices like your phone, your tablet, your computer, your laptop, like they're all different, they can all have different sizes. And because of this, your website may format differently on different devices. So there's a function on Webflow where you can adjust the size and preview how your website will look like on a device that's the size of that's like a different size. So I think it's important for you to check your website's formatting along the way instead of just like realizing this issue at the very end and having to adjust everything like at the end of the project. So I thought I could point it out. And the last advice I would give is to really be organized. And what I mean by this is first you can have a Google Doc where it has all your ideas into it, because it really helps you to remember ideas that you might have discarded before if you want it back at the moment. And I think organization is also really important when it comes to the actual implementation. For instance, on Webflow, each element like images or text will belong to a class tag that defines their style. Like a text can have a different font size, or just can have different font size or colors. So by giving it a class, you are able to manage those features more conveniently. While it doesn't seem like it might not seem as important at first, as you move along and add more images, pages, and information into our website, you will find that using these tags and naming can really increase your efficiency and avoid any unnecessary mistakes. So those were some of the advices, and I hope they can help you to make your process of making your own projects easier. Here I just want to point out some of the content in my website that I thought are really useful and make my website kind of meaningful. The most important part, I guess, will be research, because a lot of the songs I chose are actually based on research. So what I mean is that I have one type of research that explains why music therapy is effective, but also I have another sets that are under song selection criteria, where those researchers explains how different types of music can have different benefits on individuals. And for instance, there is a 5-factor model which assess music's effectiveness in 5 factors such as like mellow or ambient, etc. So based on those researches, I was able to curate different playlists that can have different benefits. As you can see here, I have a soothing playlist, a focus playlist, energetic playlist, a simple tune playlist, a communication playlist, and a sensory playlist. So each of the 6 playlists will focus primarily on addressing one issue. As you can see here, I first have the title of the playlist, but then below that I have a section of sample songs. And those were songs I chose that really represents why the songs in this playlist are therapeutic. For example, here I have the song Preludes in G minor by Bach, and below it I explained how the research on my website shows that this song is especially effective for soothing one's emotion. And I think by including the sample songs, it helps individuals to trust that music therapy will have an effect on them and make them believe that music therapy can actually help them to address those issues. And below the example songs, I have the Spotify embed where I created all the playlists. And here's just a quick code embed that shows some of the coding I did to embed the playlist. Yeah, and I also just want to say that the coding might seem difficult, but I think everyone can do it. And this project isn't as code heavy if you only have basic functions like tags, images, or buttons. So yeah. And I know I mentioned that you can promote your website through the SEO method, but then at the same time, I also wanted to reach out to more people so they can know about music therapy and help spread this to more individuals in need. The first thing I did was that I went on the official American Music Therapy Association website and I found the emails of many music therapists and professionals. And I emailed them explaining kind of my own experience and showing them my website. And I actually received a lot of responses, and I just have two examples here if people are interested. So actually one therapist from NY, like a professor from NYU offered to meet with me over Zoom, and we had like a talk, and she explained to me some of her experience with music therapy. She also gave me some advice on my own website. And actually, she was gonna join our meeting today, but then there was an emergency and she couldn't come in. So yeah, I think it's just important to let people know what you're working on. And I think almost everyone in the field is really willing to respond to you and support your project. So don't be hesitant to reach out to others. And I mean, there's no harm in sending emails, even if they don't respond to you, right? So I think this is a really important step in promoting music therapy. And besides emailing the professionals, I also created my own Reddit forum and Discord server where I post my blogs on music therapy and include playlists in it for people to use. And another intention for those is for people who are in need of music therapy, they were able to come to the forum and perhaps ask questions and connect with other families of similar situations. And I think having those forums and connections really helps to promote music therapy and make it more available. And in the last section, I also want to talk about some possible interdisciplinary approaches for music therapy. And in this case, I want to talk about how AI can actually help with music compositions and making music more accessible. I want to just first briefly explain how AI composition work. So AI are basically like us. So as human, we also learn compositions by studying existing music or songs. And similarly for AI, they also learn by looking at existing music, except at a much more efficient manner than human. And this process is basically machine learning, where AI will summarize patterns such as notes, chords, rhythm, and time signature from songs, and then reproduce them to make new songs. And I also want to point out that AI is not able to think on its own, but it's more like a probability model. So similar to ChatGPT or some music making AI, like I think it's called like Harmony or something, where the AI will predict what note will be correct to use here, with like what note has the highest probability of being correct. So that's how AI generates all those songs. And I think AI can be really helpful in music therapy because as you input different components and descriptions of a song into AI, it is able to just calculate the probability and create a song that best fits your description of like the song. So I think AI really helps with personalizing your playlist as they can receive data on music taste, preferences, and what goal you want to achieve, and then create songs based on your requirements. And also, AI is a relatively cheaper method of producing music, so I think it will definitely make music more affordable and accessible for everyone. The only limitation of AI is that even though it can create music, it kind of fails to establish a personal connection with the client. So I think while AI is really useful for music composition and for making music more accessible, there are some limitations to it, and it cannot just replace human music therapists. And that's why I think there is a lot of to explore, a lot of possibilities to explore between AI music therapy and perhaps other fields. In fact, I have personally included AI music in my own website. So I would just type in prompts and features of songs that I want to have for certain therapeutic goals, and then the AI will just generate songs for me. I actually have a quick example here, and we can take a look. Okay, that's just a short snippet.
Excuse me, Angela. Your audio isn't sharing.
Oh, so it wasn't playing?
No sound, no sound.
Let's see. Can you? Oh, I guess there's some issues with audio, but I think I can also perhaps share the audios maybe after the meeting, or like I'll just like put it in a chat later for people to listen to, because I think there were some audio issues. Yeah, but I want to just demonstrate the ability of AI and how it can efficiently produce music for everyone to listen to. And yeah, I can share the audio files in the chat later. And yeah. So that will be all for my presentation today. And thank you for joining us. Please put any questions you had in the chat box and I'll be answering them. Also, if you have any questions, here's my email and feel free to email me.
Thank you, Angela, for the inspiring and informative presentation. It's incredible to learn about the impact music therapy can have on emotional expression and communication, especially for individuals with autism.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We appreciate your insights and the innovative ways you're making music therapy more accessible. Now let's dive into some questions. I'll start with one. What's the biggest challenge you faced while creating your music therapy website?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I think there were some challenges, but I think the biggest challenge is really formatting the website so that it will fit everyone's devices, because I think with Webflow, formatting is a big component of it. And for example, if you change one element of it, it will affect other element as well. So you have to really go back, and it's a lot of trial and errors. So I think that's a big challenge in this part.
I also have a question. Could you share a personal experience from your teaching that really highlighted the impact and power of music therapy?
Of course. So as I was teaching Ellie, I think as I also explained a little bit, she was really shy and she didn't want to talk to me at first. And this continues for maybe a few lessons. And that's when I feel like I should really make some changes to improve this. So I actually, at our like third lesson, I think, I asked her what were some songs that she was interested in herself. And she was able to open up to me, and she introduced me to a lot of songs. Like there were the musical songs, and there was actually this children's song called The Ants Go Marching. And so I think those she felt like she was really excited when she was discussing those songs. And that kind of just shows me that music therapy is personalized. You have to kind of tailor it based on everyone's interests. But that also shows me that individuals with autism, they can still communicate with you, but you just need to be speaking the same language as them. So I think that was a really transformative experience for me. I see another question in the chat box where it's asking, how do I promote my website? And did I make the website as a team or just by myself? So for the first part, I promote a website mainly by, as I mentioned, I did use the SEO, and there's also a component of emailing my website and kind of explaining the purpose of my website and why I was doing it. So I reached out to a lot of music therapists through email, and I feel like I sent at least like 50 emails to them, and I got approximately 10 responses or so. So I think many of them are still willing to support me. For example, they will allow me to feature their blogs on my website, or they will ask me to put their contact information on my website under the music therapist. So I think that is a great way to promote your website. Just like reach out to anyone, even if like a stranger you have never met before. And yes, and for the website, I mainly worked on it myself, but then I think I was also seeking help from another person who knows a bit more about like website making. And I think it's really helpful to have someone that guides you through the process, but then you seem to have your own ideas and you still have to implement the website yourself. Yes. Mm, oh, I see another.
Oh, yeah. Gabby is asking, turning ideas into reality is never easy. And during the process of creating this website, what was your biggest takeaway? And how did you balance your tight academic schedule with the time spent on the website?
Okay. So during the website creation, I think my biggest takeaway is kind of how my individual actions can really have such a big impact. Because to be honest, before I didn't know as much about music therapy, but as I was just doing all the research, like finding related research, music playlists, and like looking at forums, I think I was gradually gaining a deeper understanding of this field, and it just makes me more determined to actually contribute to this. So, as to answer the question, what I learned from it, I think it's that if you see that there is a problem, don't be hesitant to just go into it and make some explorations. Like you will never know where it leads you to. And for me in this case, I think I'm grateful for the opportunity to make this project and really helps those in needs. And as for balancing my academic schedule with the time for the website, I think it's really about having a timeline and having a schedule ahead of time. For me, I work on this website mainly during my summer break, so I had relatively plenty of time to work on it every day. But if you do have like a tight academic schedule, I'll recommend you to first create a timeline of when you want to maybe brainstorm your website and when you want to do some researches, when you want to implement it, have some checkpoints, and when you will finish implementing, but also leave time for like promoting your website. And I think having this timeline really helped me to stay organized and balance my academic and doing this project. Um, and I think,
Oh,
Happy has a question. Was it hard coding AI generated music into your website?
oh, I think this person is mainly asking about is it hard to, I guess, code a website in general or include music into my website? I don't think it's as difficult. Personally, I took the APCSA class in my school, and I think that was pretty sufficient because even though we learn like Java and Python, which are not the language I use in this case, I think having a little bit of knowledge in programming allows you to allows you to think in a certain way that makes coding kind of easier. And in this case, for my coding, I used a code from the the Webflow official website where there is a music player you can include directly from there to include music and songs on your website. So I guess my short answer is that um I think you need to have a little bit of background in coding, but it's not as difficult. And it's totally fine if you just maybe search up some tutorials on your own and learn some basic codings. So I think it's totally doable for anyone.
Oh, and then going off of that, Gabby also asked, in building the website, how much of the knowledge came from what you learned in school and how much was self-taught?
Mm, I think most of it was self-taught because I've never used Figma and Webflow before. And I think as I was creating the website, I'm also learning how to use them with like someone guiding me and using tutorials I found online. And yeah, whenever I encounter some problems with implementation, I really had to like search online for answers or possible solutions. I think most of the website building part is definitely taught by like it's like definitely self-taught. And as for the contents of the website, um, for example, the music playlist and the researchers, they all came from research done on my own time. So yeah, I was looking through some really well-renowned research websites like Science Direct and stuff like that, where I will take research from there and kind of summarize in my own term and then put them into my website. So I would say most of it's self-taught, but then yeah, I think the CS classes I took in school were also helping me along the way. Mm. Oh, also, I'll just quickly put the AI generated song into the chat box. Um, to everyone. Oh yeah. So I have put the AI generated music that I wasn't able to play just then into the chat box, and I think feel free to download it and listen to it because I think the AI did a good job, and it's a I think it's really useful to I think it's really fun to listen to, and it can be useful for therapy.
Angelina, I have a personal question.
Mhm.
Will you or have you already put this like music onto like YouTube or like Spotify?
Mm, yeah, I don't have them on YouTube, but I do have them on Spotify. So I think I'll also share the link to you. But
Yes, please. Can you share that to everyone?
uh yes, let me just it's also on my website for if you want to go to like my website music and have all the playlists on Spotify, but then I can also put in the chat box the chat room right now. Yes. Just-
Oh, I also had a personal question. I remember you mentioned that there was like a study that said classical music was more effective. Was that correct?
yes.
Oh,
Or
and
is
then, okay, so from your experiences teaching music therapy, do you agree or like, do you think there's like another genre or do you think classical is the way to go?
mm, I just want to make ask a quick clarification. So for the research, I think it mentions that classical music is really effective for focusing, and really I agree with that. And but I guess I'm not trying to say that classical music is the only way to go. I think like a lot of music can have a benefits for different individuals. Like I also seen researches where it's saying like indie film music can be really helpful or like old 80s rock. So I think yeah, there were definitely like the genre of the music can definitely impacts how effective it is. But then I think it's also based on each individual. And that's why music therapists are really important because they are the ones that are supposed to customize what songs their clients listen to as they collaborate along the way. As for my website, I had those playlists as like a generally effective resources, so anyone can like go in there and see what songs they like and take those from there. Yeah. Oh, and I'll share the Spotify link right now. Oh, and I see the question is like a follow-up question. So how did I code AI generated music into my website? Oh, I guess I didn't explain it as clear before, but there is a thing called like a music player, where basically there's like a code embed that I think use HTML where you can put on Webflow, and then using that. That's kind of like the music player where it controls all the songs like stop and play and everything. And then as for the music, I put them all in a CMS collection in Webflow. And by connecting the CMS collection with the music player I embedded in my website, um, I was able to play individual songs and include those AI generated music on my website. Yes, I hope that answers your question.
Okay, if there's any more questions, please type into the chat. But if there won't be any questions, I think the meeting will end around here now. Thank you guys for attending.
Thank you everyone for joining
And thank you, Angela, again for being here.
Especially thank yous to Angela for presenting for us.
This is
This fun
yours.
evening.
thank you so much everyone. And yeah, I hope you can take a look at the website and maybe take inspiration from it. And I also hope everyone can maybe explore music therapy or enjoy music in their life as well. Yeah. Thank you.
I have a question, Angela. So for the AI songs, do you ever plan to like upload them to Spotify?
Oh yeah, I think I would definitely put them into like the different playlists.
Because I
Um,
checked your Spotify, I don't think I see Whispers of Tranquility anywhere in like the.
oh, I mean, I didn't upload them on Spotify yet, but because I was still like a bit I was having a little bit of trouble with like what type of music can I upload on it because it's AI generated. But yeah, I think it's a great suggestion that I should include them on Spotify as well. So I can put them on Spotify maybe like this weekend or something.
All right.
Yeah, that's great. Yes, I think that'll be all.